In Jurassic Park 3, we were introduced to the greatest predator ever known to walk the earth, the Spinosaurus. Clearly a fine and welcome dinosaur into the film series, one that brought a lot of love into the film regardless of its quality. Though over the 19 years that have passed since, a lot of paleontological discoveries and conclusions have greatly separated InGen's genetically manipulated Spinosaurus from the fossil record's Spinosaurus aegypticus. In this video, I want to go over the radical changes between the two and why they're so genetically different. So far, the Spinosaurus is the largest land-walking carnivorous animal known to mankind, not just in the fossil record. It lived in what is now northern Africa in the late Cretaceous, its habitat likely being rivers and wetlands. It would have competed against other large theropods, including the Bahariosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. The structure of its limbs, as well as its diet, strongly supports its position as a swimmer, yet this wasn't confirmed until early 2020. Obviously it's quite notable for the vertebrae that protrude on its back, creating a sail and giving its name the Spinosaurus. In real life, many believe the sail to have been quite long and almost rectangular, with an obvious dip in the middle, though others believed it to have had a more semicircular sail, like the one seen in Jurassic Park 3. Some people believe this sail to be for attraction, though it's more likely to be for thermoregulation. InGen's creature favours the semicircular sail. In addition, the limbs of the creature support a more upright standing position, which favours terrestrial movement, though it can and still does swim later in the movie. Finally, the most controversial change is the bite force of the creature. Once so great, it was able to break the neck of a tyrannosaur. When looking at the thin snout of the creature, it's obvious to see why this would have been unlikely back during the Cretaceous. Now that so many paleontological discoveries have been made, the state of the Spinosaurus in the Jurassic Park franchise seems more ridiculous than ever. Though the situation isn't that simple, and I'll start off with this. If there's one thing that absolutely everyone should know about Jurassic Park, especially based on recent criticism that is still spoken today, it's that the creatures in the Jurassic Park franchise are genetically modified hybrids. They are not natural, they are not scientifically accurate, and it's meant to be that way. They have had their genetic code modified by InGen scientists, which has led to scientific inaccuracies. But in truth, these movies can really do whatever they want with these animals without being criticized for it. And if one were to ask the motives for doing such radical genetic manipulations, we first need to dig deeper into the paleontological discovery of the Spinosaurus. Because believe it or not, we don't even have a complete skeleton of the animal. Only fragments of its skeleton have been recovered, and from that we've been able to make strong assumptions and conclusions about its body structure, though other aspects are still up in the air at this point. So when the genome of this animal was filled in during the late 90s, there wasn't much to go off of. Especially when you consider the fact that these geneticists were designing an entire creature, its entire genetic code from beginning to end with so little information. And that may be true, but it certainly isn't the main motive. You see, the main reasons for genetic differentiations within InGen's assets can be summed up by two memoirs from the Jurassic Park franchise. The first of these is from Michael Crichton's novel Jurassic Park, in which Henry Wu and John Hammond debate over the scientific accuracy of the creatures in their park. Quote, "We should go to version 4.4. For one thing, they move too fast. People aren't accustomed to seeing large animals that are so quick. But Henry, these are real dinosaurs. I'm saying we can make a better version. Better than real? Why not? Why not push ahead to make exactly the kind of dinosaur that we'd like to see? One that is more acceptable to visitors. But then the dinosaurs won't be real. I do realize, and I must tell you frankly, Henry, I see no reason to improve upon reality. I don't think we should improve upon reality just because we think it's better that way. We have real dinosaurs out there now. That's what people want to see, and that's what they should see. That's our obligation, Henry. That's honest." So it seems from this situation that Henry Wu is interested in scientific development of the creatures, the next iteration, phase, or version, as he calls it. And his motives for doing so seem to be reaching the expectations of the public. Swimming spinosaurs, dinosaurs with feathers, and other paleontological accurate conclusions are not what the general public thought of dinosaurs back in the day, and the reality of dinosaurs can be far more disappointing. Even today, most of us are accustomed to and prefer Jurassic Park's reptilian-like animals. It's not the truth, it's not reality, but many like to believe that it is, and that's what we want to see. Now as for Hammond, he wants the truth, and he believes that the general public will be satisfied by scientific accuracy. Genetic mutations have only been made where necessary, such as legislation or fighting disease. Now let's take a look at Jurassic World, which is an entirely different canon. A parallel conversation takes place here, with Henry Wu instead arguing with Masrani, who stands in the place of Hammond as the park owner.
We use strands from their DNA to adapt you to a tropical climate, but I never imagined...
Who authorized you to do this?
You did. Bigger. Scarier? Cooler, I believe is the word that you used in your memo. You cannot have an animal with exaggerated predator features without the corresponding behavioral traits. You are acting like we are engaged in some kind of mad science, but we are doing what we have done from the beginning. Nothing in Jurassic World is natural. We have always filled gaps in the genome with the DNA of other animals. And if their genetic code was pure, many of them would look quite different. But you didn't ask for reality. You asked for more teeth.
I never asked for a monster.
Monster is a relative term. To a canary, a cat is a monster. We're just used to being the cat.
Now Masrani, unlike Hammond, doesn't necessarily believe that all of the park's dinosaurs should be scientifically accurate, and they aren't. Though upon the realization of the biological abilities of the Indominus, such as camouflage and adjustment of its body temperature, he begins to question the morals and decisions of the scientists. Exactly what is going on in their little playground, and why. Now his response to this is obviously the statement that nothing in Jurassic World is natural, and everything is genetically manipulated. Technically a hybrid. But Masrani didn't ask for reality. He asked for bigger, louder assets with more teeth. And that is the origin of the Indominus Rex. Now Wu is in control of the argument, and his next iteration is what people want to see. So in conclusion, the reasoning for genetic anomalies and scientific inaccuracies within the Jurassic Park franchise is because money. People aren't interested in scientific accuracy anymore. Claire said this at the beginning of the film. No one's impressed by a dinosaur anymore. People want them bigger, louder, more teeth. Now obviously the Spinosaurus was created illegally and in secret, and due to the many plot holes within the Jurassic Park lore, it's still hard to determine whether or not this is true, but it looks like it may have been created with the intention of showing it off to the public. Even so, the main motives for creating the illegal species we see on Sauna was to further the development of scientific research and test various genetic alleles, for example, feathers. It was, as they called it, the next iteration. And we see this furthered in Jurassic World, the mere existence of the Indominus once again being the next iteration of scientific development, used to gain public interest. In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the Indoraptor exists as one of the most complete and able dinosaurs, though as a prototype it still requires training from Blue, which Dr. Wu of all people refers to as the next iteration of the Indoraptor.